I heard the giggle before I felt the damage. Thin, sharp, the sound that didn't belong in a room full of family. My daughter's hand was in mine. It went slack, not loose, empty, like she'd been unplugged. The salt air came through the open doors, bright and loud, mocking us. Plates paused midair, forks stopped clinking. Someone laughed late, confused. My brother leaned back in his chair, pleased with himself. He'd aimed the words like a dart and watched it land. "Your child has no place at the beach house," he said again, softer this time, savoring it. Then the giggle again. I didn't look at him. I watched my daughter's face drain of color. Her eyes didn't water, they shut down. That was worse. I said, "No beach house. I'll cancel everything." Silence snapped into place. He froze. My mother leaned toward me and whispered, "Are you serious?" I smiled and said nothing. That was the moment I decided not to explain, not to warn, not to save anyone from what was coming. That was the beginning. Nobody moved. The room felt staged, like a photograph waiting to be taken. My brother's wife stared at the tablecloth. My father pretended to examine his glass. My mother's lips trembled like she wanted to smooth the moment flat. My daughter let go of my hand and walked to the window. She pressed her forehead against the glass. I watched my brother watch her. His eyes flicked away when he caught me noticing. Something was off. Not just the cruelty, the comfort with it. He'd been testing boundaries for months. Little jokes, small exclusions, a seat missing at dinners, a forgotten invitation. This was just the first time he'd done it where I could see it clearly. I stood up and excused us. My daughter followed without a word. Behind us, I felt the room breathe again. We weren't always like this. He used to call me first, used to ask my opinion. We built things together, projects, plans, trust. When his business faltered, I stepped in quietly. I co-signed, I vouched, I covered gaps he pretended were temporary. The beach house was supposed to be neutral ground, family property, shared memories, shared upkeep, shared access. I handled the logistics, the bookings, the maintenance, the paperwork no one else wanted to touch. That was my mistake. I thought proximity meant loyalty. I thought silence meant respect. The shift came slowly. Missed calls, delayed replies, a new tone in his voice, shorter, flatter. Then the emails that stopped copying me, the meetings rescheduled without notice, the account statements that didn't match what I remembered approving. I didn't confront him, I watched. Discovery doesn't arrive loudly, it seeps. I noticed a transfer routed through an old vendor account, a signature that looked like mine but wasn't, a calendar entry erased, a lease addendum filed late, always small enough to excuse, always timed when I was busy elsewhere. Confusion gave way to hurt. Hurt cooled into something harder. I stopped asking questions and started keeping records. Screenshots, PDFs, timestamps. I memorized rhythms, when he lied, when he rushed, when he laughed to cover discomfort. I learned who copied whom, who forwarded what, who assumed I wasn't paying attention anymore. I was. Revenge doesn't start with anger. It starts with patience. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't hint. I didn't warn. I spoke to a lawyer through a mutual friend, then an accountant who liked puzzles. I found the clause everyone forgot, the one about operational authority, the one with my name on it. I checked the bookings, the deposits, the insurance rider. I moved quietly. I shifted access. I paused payments. I changed confirmation codes. I documented everything, then waited. My daughter started talking again, not about the beach house, about school, about nothing. I listened. I learned how deep silence can cut. The confrontation happened on a Tuesday. No audience, no theatrics. My brother came into my office smiling, already rehearsing his version of events. I let him talk. I let him explain. I let him trip over his own omissions. Then I slid the folder across the desk. He stopped mid-sentence. The smile collapsed inward. I said very little. Dates, amounts, copies of his own messages. I watched the power leave his posture inch by inch. He asked if this was a mistake. I shook my head. He asked what I wanted. I told him nothing. The beach house bookings were canceled, all of them. The accounts were frozen, pending review. The board had already been notified. He didn't shout. He didn't beg. He stared at the wall like it might explain how he'd misjudged me so badly. The aftermath was quieter than I expected. Family dinners became smaller. Conversations changed lanes when I entered rooms. My mother asked if I could fix it. I told her it was already fixed. My daughter came with me to the shore one morning. Not the house, the public beach. She ran into the water without looking back. I stood there feeling the weight lift. Not vengeance, balance. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't taken more than what was already mine. I learned something important in the silence after. Power doesn't announce itself. It waits. It watches. It moves when the moment can't escape it. And when my brother finally understood what he'd lost, I was already gone. Walking back from the water, dry, steady, and done.